The supply chain disruptions are hitting the farmers here in Manitowoc County, and it's looking like it's going to get worse before it gets better. Let's start the conversation this morning with the Manitowoc County farmer, Dick Halverson from Divided Acres. Dick, welcome to the Jim and Rick Show.
Hey, thanks, Jim. Thanks for calling.
The supply chain disruptions are now affecting the way you farm in Manitowoc County. Can you explain a little bit?
Well, about a week ago, I ran into somebody from our fertilizer plant, and they said you better start buying some of your fertilizer needs because the prices are really going up. So I did. I jumped on that, called my crop consultant, and he gave me my recommendations for next year. The problem is I paid over twice as much as I paid this year, so the price has more than doubled, and 2 days later it went up another 25%. So they're worried about a shortage, and so the price hike is continuing.
Is this seed, fertilizer? Is it what is it exactly that the price is skyrocketing?
I think it's pretty well everything. Seed maybe hasn't seen quite as big an impact, but it probably also went up 20%, but it hasn't doubled and then some. The chemical Roundup, glyphosate, is something that is used quite a bit in farming. And that product, they said, not only pay for it, which is triple the cost of what I paid probably a year and a half ago, but they also said put the product in your shed because it might not even be there next year. That's what you're talking about.
This is a product thing. It's not a transportation thing or a lack of labor issue. It's actually physical product.
I think you hit it on the head. It's what everybody else is saying about, let's say, their Nike shoes. Why aren't they there? It's the same reason. And I'm not sure, did we really pinpoint the reason yet, but it's the same reasoning. Is the product available? I don't know that for sure. I think it's a labor shortage. I think it's a transportation shortage. It's all those, yes.
Dick, what's going to happen if your crops are below average or you're paying more for the product? What's going to happen?
Well, if we're paying more for the product, we hope, we're told what our prices, we're hoping the prices are going to have to go up of our product. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. But I think they're concerned about a food shortage, and that'll affect all the consumers. You and I at the table.
What kind of foods are we talking about here in Manitowoc County?
Well, remember, we feed the animals. So in our case, it's milk, it's meat. In other cases, what about the sweet corn? What about the peas and the beans and the carrots? I'm hearing rumbling. I don't know if this is true, but I'm hearing that in some cases they're bypassing some of this canning crops already because they're saying we don't have the labor even to can it, to process it.
I want to thank you for joining us on the Jim and Rick Show.
Thanks for having me.
So we heard from Dick Halverson. Now let's move on to a crop consultant, Steve Hoffman with In-Depth Agronomy. And Steve, welcome to the Jim and Rick Show.
Thank you, Jim.
Let's get right to it here. What is driving the higher cost for these Manitowoc County farmers?
I'm sure all the listeners have heard about the shipping and transportation challenges that we've got on a global basis right now with container ships sitting at ports, just circling around. And fertilizer is a very bulky material, so transportation costs are relatively higher for fertilizer. That's part of the problem. So then just worldwide demand for food, commodity prices are up. And by commodity, I mean corn, wheat, the grains, soybeans. Those prices started going up about a year ago.
Steve Hoffman from In-Depth Agronomy with us. So, Steve, what products are we likely to see price increases on?
So from the farmer standpoint, there's three main fertilizer products that they commonly use. That would be nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And all three of those products are used in relatively high amounts on fields, and all three of those are going up significantly.
These three products are most likely to drive up the cost of what we see at the grocery store. How soon do you think the average Manitowoc County resident is going to start seeing higher prices on their grocery bill?
We're already seeing the higher prices on their grocery bill. I think that's more related to transportation costs, labor costs, those kinds of things. The fertilizer part of it won't hit consumers for probably a year, but we can expect that food prices will keep climbing because fertilizer is a major cost for food production. It's maybe somewhere 30%.
Steve Hoffman, crop consultant from In-Depth Agronomy. Thanks for joining us today on the Jim and Rick Show.
Thank you for the invitation.
I have a question for you now, Rick.
Okay.
Has the price of beer gone up?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it has. Not a great
I don't
deal,
know.
but it has.
I don't drink, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it has. Yeah. It's gone up, not significantly. but it's gone up somewhat. My question was, you know, when you were talking with Dick, is you know, is it transportation? Is this? Is that? There has been a big spotlight on things like Roundup and health issues, and I wonder if some of that isn't kind of feeding in there at least a little bit anyway, because you know,
The insurance claims.
and cancer,
These-
you know, the
yeah,
cancer
the
end of it, and things like that.
Carpetbagger lawyers going, yeah.
But you do need things such as Roundup. You do, or you are not going to have a crop, or not a very good one anyway.
They'll just take over. That's the logic. Everyone that does any kind of gardening knows that.
Yeah.
You need to control the weeds.
Yeah.
But prices going up. What have you done to economize?
So far, I'm just eating, you know. But no, seriously, you go to the grocery store now and you take a look at even beef, and wow, the price of beef has gone way up. We on the ranch where I live, I mean, we had Herefords for a good number of years, but we have sold off the cattle about 2 years ago.
Right.
And we used to. During a year, we would sell 1, 2, 3, whatever steers to people that wanted. And people are going to go, oh, that's not inspected. I can't buy that from a farmer. There are a lot of farmers that will sell a steer off, but you don't buy it directly like from the farmer per se. The farmer will bring it to, say, maybe Newton Meats or some of these processing plants. They in turn will contact you. You tell you if you have a half or a quarter or you got the whole cow or whatever. You'll tell them how you want it cut up, and then they will package it, and then the whole thing, and then you pay the farmer for the cow, your portion of it. You pay for the butchering and wrapping and freezing, and then it's yours.
That's the inspection part of it.
Well,
The inspection part of it is at the meat cutter.
is at the meat cutter, like Newton Meats, inspected by the state at all times. Yeah,
Sure.
of course.
And then when you buy a local cow, especially if they're grass-fed,
Yeah.
it's better for you.
Yeah,
Because it's all that corn that they
Silage.
stuff in those things. And you've been across the fruited plain of Nebraska and
South
those,
Dakota?
those feedlots and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
How have the rising prices affected you? From the WOMT Shoreline text line, become a vegetarian and eat the nice foliage growing in your backyard. Problem solved, which I do.
I do. Yeah, I do. Because I eat the cow that ate the vegetables. So
That's a way to get the leafy green.
yeah, you know, it's one way of doing it. Yeah.
I do both. I certainly grow things in the
If
backyard.
you want to eat just vegetables, do it. I mean, it's choice. Go right ahead.
And venison. Venison is all I have in the freezer.
As far as meats, if I'm going to eat meat, buffalo is really, really good. I love that.
Yeah. All right, one more before we take a break here from the WOMT Shoreline text line. Solution
Yeah.
to the rising beer prices.
Oh,
Cut out the wife's beer.
there you go. She's going to be too busy snow blowing anyway.
Not my words, it's a text, fellas. All right.